All right, so again, we got that second chair, and we're gonna start actually with that second chair, and if you have a block, that's great, because we're really with comfort today, all right? How do we get comfortable in a position? And if something isn't comfortable, how do we make it comfortable? How do we get that feeling of what's going to be right for us, okay? So, for instance, we're sitting in this chair like this, one chair facing the other. My knees need to open up, my hips need to open up. I'm towards the front part of a chair. Is my chair cushioned? Do I have a cushion already on it? Can I put a blanket or a pillow? All right. If you don't have a block, you can use a pillow for what I'm going to show you right now. And again, that's to aid in comfort and to bring us into some better alignment. If this is a little uncomfortable to open up your knees this far, then you can go ahead and bring them in closer. We just want to be able to have enough distance between one chair and the other. And I'm going to just kind of rock back and forth. And what I want to do is to find my spine flat, okay? And then I'm going to place my head so that my forehead is on that pillow. And I'm using the pillow to show you that that would work. Or to place myself forehead down on any height of that block, all right? So what I want you to feel is just like you're not having to do much of anything right now in this peaceful warrior. When we do peaceful warrior on the ground, I sometimes look at people and I think, oh, they don't look very peaceful. They don't look very comfortable because they're hanging out here because they can't reach all the way down with their forehead. And so, or they can't reach back with their hips onto their heels. And so we need to use a blanket there. So here, just fine. And maybe you're just perfect with putting your forehead on that other chair, then do that. If you feel like you're in good alignment, if you feel comfortable, okay, you can build up 2 fists here and place your forehead right on top of that top fist. That feels pretty good to me too. That's using our own anatomy, okay, as props. So as we're here in what's supposed to be a pretty restful place in Peaceful Warrior, also called a wide-legged child's pose, we're going to go ahead and take some deep breaths. I'm going to open my eyes as I do that and just kind of look at the shifting of my belly and my chest. My eyes are straight down, my forehead is on my hands or the block or the pillow, keeping my neck nice and straight so that I have access straight down through my throat to my diaphragm. But you're going to feel maybe a little bit of compression there in your lower belly as it's resting in between your legs and you're breathing in and out. Let's take 2 more big, full, quiet, slow breaths here. I feel my ribs expanding in front and behind me as well. Good. Then I'm going to lift my head up and take my hands onto that chair and just lengthen my hands, fingers outward. My arms are long and straight here. And I'm going to place my feet nice and solidly on the ground. And I'm going to just take my whole body, shift it to the right, then take my whole body and shift it to the left, okay? So you're going to just move back and forth. Your arms are keeping you from falling face forward on that chair because you are at an angle, okay? An angle forward, inclined. And I'm working with breath here. Maybe inhaling one side, transitioning Exhaling on the other. And I'm going to turn kind of at an angle so you can see better. And then from here, let's come onto our forearms. So for me, I can put my forearms almost on that whole seat of the chair. Maybe you need to make fists a little bit so that you can have enough of your forearm resting on that. And from here, we're just going to go ahead and let our head come down, chin to chest, come into that bowing and feel how much of the back of your neck is releasing right now. And your weight is on the forearms as you're tilted forward here. You should really feel that down deep into the neck and into your trapezius there. That big, thick muscle that runs on top of well, between our neck and our shoulders. Take 2 more big breaths here. Feel the weight bearing on your forearms. Real important for us to focus on weight bearing activities as well. Let's go ahead and lift our head back up, hands come back onto the chair, and then just walk yourself back up so that we're seated upright on one chair. And from here, I've got my hands out on my knees, okay? And I'm going to take some circles around. So as you do that, I love all those circles that you guys are making. Yeah. So we're coming left and right as far as we want or can, and we're coming forward and back as far as we want or can. And we're breathing. We're going to reverse that. What I've been doing is exhale. I'm going to open up my mouth when I exhale. Close when I inhale. Just a very, that kind of breath. And feel that release. 2 more in this direction. And then coming up, sitting up straight and tall here. I'm going to go ahead and take my left foot up, and I'm going to have it, my knee bent, and I want to readjust myself a little bit on the chair that I'm seated on so that I can feel comfortable here. Here's another good place for blocks, okay, and or cushions. All right, so I'm going to maybe just place a block on the side of my leg, if that's a little bit much for me to open up there. And if that block is a little bit pointy, then I place a pillow there. And it can feel really just nice and relaxed. I'm still opening up my hips, but I'm also able to feel like there's a support system there, okay? So from here, we're going to go ahead and slide down the shin of the foot that's planted on the ground. Okay, and maybe I only come to a knee. Wherever you come to, find that. And then take the other hand and lift it up towards the ceiling. So I'm in this kind of lateral bend here. One knee open, one hip open. And my fingers are just reaching to the ceiling right now. They've gone anywhere else. And if coming down with your hand on the shin is a lot, come right back here and bend your elbow so that you have your forearm on your thigh, all right? So take it to whichever place feels right for you. And I'm going to keep bringing in these blocks. This is really nice as well, okay? I want you to feel comfortable using these props, as they are called, or tools of the trade. Fingers really reaching up high here. And now I'm going to go ahead and let that arm come over bicep by my ear. So I'm just feeling really relaxed in that left hip that's opening. Feeling a really good stretch in the side body here. Feeling some compression in my right side of my body, contraction. And I'm breathing. And then I'm going to lift my fingers back up towards the ceiling, pressing down with my hand in the block or attached to my leg or right here, forearm on my thigh. And then I'm going to bring myself back up nicely here. And I just want to do a couple circles back with my shoulders and a couple circles forward with my shoulders. And then left shoulder up and right shoulder up and left shoulder up and right shoulder up. Arms rise up and push away. Bring them back up. Interlace fingers here, palms up, and bring them in and push away. Kind of like a, let's see, dipping motion, pushing. Bringing them down, pushing away. And let's reverse that. Two more. Push away. Again, maybe taking yourself breathing out of your mouth. And then just finding yourself sitting straight up. And let's take ourselves forward here, okay? And I'm trying to remember what we're doing so that we can reverse this, but I might ask for help. I'm holding on to the back of my chair or this side of my chair, and I'm coming forward. And I'm feeling that in the outer part of my hip, with my bent knee. My chin comes towards my chest. Just let myself hang here, hang and drain. And then bringing myself back up, releasing here, sit up straight and tall. And then I'm going to let my left foot come down. Then I'm going to let my right foot come up. And again, what do I want to do here to find a little more comfort? Perhaps I liked this with the pillow there. Don't have to. It's just going to keep letting that open up a little bit more. But my hips are really pretty open already. So I'm going to just go ahead and cushion that. I'm going to use that block on the other side. I'm going to sit up really straight and tall here. Taking a couple breaths. I'm going to slide my left hand down that left shin. Or again, some of you chose to take and bend your elbow, put the forearm on the thigh. Some of you use the block and put that down on the ground. And then I take my right arm and I lift it up. My fingers reach towards the ceiling. And already, no matter where you are, you're feeling that opening all the way from here up and through your fingertips. Then I'm looking, or I'm looking forward, up, forward, or down. And just getting that length, and it feels really good. The other day, our whole class was movement, movement, movement. Today, we're going to slowing it down a bit into some more static poses. And I'm going to take my arm over, only if you like. Maybe feeling that stretch a little bit more. And again, hand on shin or block or forearm on your thigh. Really lengthening, stretching, really letting still. That right hip, just release and let go. And then my right fingers pull up, stretching towards the sky. Looking one more time up, side or down. And then taking myself back up as my right hand comes down. And let's take a couple circles with our shoulders. Pull them back. Let's take them forward. Let's take the left up, the right down, and reverse. Yeah, squeezing right into that trapezius there. Coming down one more time each side. Taking arms up, inhale. Interlace, push away. Take your hands down, scoop forward and up. And down. Inhale. Through my mouth. In through my nose. You can take both in and out through your nose. One more time this direction. And let's reverse. Scoop again. My hands are getting caught on my big nose as it comes up. And finally bringing myself with my hands forward. Taking my hands to the sides of that back of the chair, maybe to the sides of the seat of the chair, or in my case, to the top of the back of the chair, depending on the anatomy of your chair. I'm going to really use these transverse abdominals to hug in tight here and continue my deep breathing as I let my head come down and hang here. You can keep your arms supported on the chair, or you can let those go as well. And you can feel that opening. So we're in a bit of a pigeon pose here. Opening up that outer part of our hip. Even if you have a pillow or a block there, still gonna feel that. And then I'm gonna slowly lift up. Use the support of the chair. Bring my head up. Exhale down. I'm gonna take my foot down. And here we're going to practice just a little bit of that spring step that we were talking about before, and we practiced the other day. So I'm gonna spring off of the ball of my foot, lift my foot off the ground, place my heel down, then place the ball of my foot down. Other side, spring up, okay, lift up my knee, and then let the ball of my foot come down, and let the sole of my foot come down. So springing up and taking it down. Springing it up and taking it down, and feeling this also, right, in the inner side of your thighs, that groin area. And breathing. One more time on each side. Spring up and down. This time, let's see if we can hold that up and build a little bit of strength, okay? So I'm going to spring up with one leg and point or flex it, whatever you want to do, or you can leave it kind of gentle, all right? I'm going to keep my fingers on that other chair to help me support my spine and to help me keep that lift going there. And just being aware of our foot and all of the connections that it makes to the earth will really help as well. And also, not just what it's doing when it's on the earth, but what it's doing when it's lifted up, and what muscles and what part of our body is taking that lift in our walk, okay? Let's lift up a little bit more, maybe pushing down a little bit more into the front of that other chair and into the foot that's grounded to keep my body really aligned. And I'm going to go ahead and let that leg come down. Before I move over to the other one, I'm going to just take a few little twists back and forth, maybe sliding my hand on the other chair, or you can take it down your thighs. And again, our bodies can be our anatomical props as well. Okay, so right here or right here. And then coming back to stillness, I'm gonna press like down into a piano keyboard, right? Pressing my fingers into that other chair to lift my spine, to keep everything in alignment, taking weight into this other foot, other leg, lifting up, feeling that working into my hip, into my quadricep, and keeping my foot flexed or pointed. Be somewhat active there, but again, you don't have to be. Maybe you're active enough with just pushing down here into the foot and pushing down into your fingers into that other chair. Lifting maybe a little bit higher, trying to maintain that straight perpendicular spine so that I'm not starting to recline here, okay? And just pressing down into my keyboard, lifting up through the crown of my head, flexing or pointing if I like that other foot that's lifted, maybe lift a little bit more, really strengthening our legs here, strengthening in through our center and slowly release down. And from here, we're going to go ahead and take our arms and open them up to the side, okay? And bring them forward and interlace everything but your index finger. So like you are double pointing at somebody, right? You're giving them, this is the finger that you never want to give to someone, that pointing in their face, right? Oh, it irritates me when people finger point. So here we are. Then Denise talked about our anxiety today. So we will just be taking these fingers and think that they are pointing into a really good direction, okay? So here we are. Take and clasp your hands really tightly and bring them up at an angle, okay? So like you're shooting a bow maybe up into the air, an arrow up into the air with a bow. So now from here, go ahead and take them back down. Exhale. Inhale, lift them up. Maybe a little bit more. Exhale, take them down. Inhale, rise. Exhale. And 2 more, please. Getting into the shoulders here a bit. Now I'm going to keep my left hand forward. I'm going to take my right one, slide it back, and I want to make a bent elbow that stays about the height of my shoulder so that I am more into that kind of pulling back into the strings of the bow. And maybe I'm going to actually do that with my hands, but I'm lengthening out one arm, pulling back with the other. I hope you're feeling that in your pecs there in the front, and lifting that elbow a little bit higher. And then releasing, slowly coming back, exchanging hands, pulling back here with my left hand. I can feel it also in my waist, even though I'm not actually doing a big twist. But my arm is coming back, my elbow stays high at the level of my shoulder, pulling back, squeezing into my hands, and then slowly releasing back. And now opening up both hands, fingers extended, open, lift all the way up. Exhale, come into cactus arms. Let your heart come forward. And bring yourself up. And exhale. Bring yourself up. 2 more times, lengthen, 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 and exhale. Breathing in through my nose, and if you want, open your mouth, make some noise. Inhale. And exhale. And I think of yoga as being kind of quiet, but actually a lot of the pranayama and the breath work makes noise. So, okay, from here, now let's see if we can get both of those legs up on the chair. And please push that chair away as far as you want. We're keeping the knees bent to begin with, okay? So, knees are bent. Feet might be together. Maybe I'm using pillows. Maybe I'm using pillows or blocks to cushion the sides of my legs, okay? Working on comfort, all right, as well as opening up into both hips. Now, I'm gonna reach towards the back of my chair, all right? So sides of the chair or the back of the chair, flat spine, take a reach forward in between those bent legs. Depending on where your flexibility is will depend on, you know, how low you may get into this. So we might be really here. We might be coming more forward. We might be back here. But the idea is to keep those hips open and expand ourselves forward with a flat spine. All right, so pushing and pulling back, tailbone back and down in one direction, crown of the head in the other, using our arms to find some leverage here. When you get to the place that feels like that is it for you in terms of coming forward, let your head go down and let yourself release. Maybe your forehead comes onto that other chair. Maybe you place a block so that your forehead can rest there, right? Similar to what we did at the beginning in Peaceful Warrior, but look, we still have our hips open and our knees wide apart, but instead of our feet planted on the ground, they're up and we're still kind of folding in on ourselves here. But that to me feels really good to have a block there. Or you can stack your fists again, or you can let your head hang, or maybe it reaches to the top of that other chair. But just take a couple breaths here and just feel the release that it's like to have this forward fold. Kind of a jackknife effect, right? We're all curving in on ourselves. And lifting up your head first and bringing your weight back so that now we are straight up again here. And let's just, instead of holding that, we're going to flow down our legs and bring ourselves back. Hold on to knees, let your heart lift. That's my inhale. Exhale, sliding down my shins. Coming back. Only letting my head lower if that feels okay for you. Otherwise, keep from letting that happen so you don't end up feeling dizzy, because we're not holding this so much as we are dynamically using our breath and flowing. I love the idea that we can use the two chairs and still get into some of the things that we would do if we were on the mat and able to get into working your legs a little bit more and your hips. Okay, two more, please. So you're kind of using your hands and arms and your grip on your knees to get that swaying, flowing motion. And then we're going to come up, and this time I would like you to lengthen your legs to wherever your legs will go. And maybe you have a bend there in your knees. That's fine if so. And you want to just not press those knees down anymore. Maybe you take that pillow and you cushion underneath wherever that kind of placement is of your legs, okay? So we just don't want to have anybody pushing down onto the kneecaps here. But let's try to find ourselves in that L position, okay? And the other thing, that I'm going to do because of the chair that I have. I'm gonna put a pillow there so that my feet are a little bit more in line with my legs, otherwise they were down a little bit. So work to see where, if you can make that down. All right, so I've got my shoulders stacked on top of my hips. And I want my ears, this is the one that is interesting to me because I sometimes will have my head forward. I want to have my ears so that if I drop straight down, if I'm wearing really long earrings, they're going to be right there on my trapezius, right at this area. Okay, so I want to keep my head back. And I want to engage here in my core. As I do, I'm going to feel that engagement in my quadriceps too, my thighs, all right? And I have my feet flexed. And if you want, you can point them, or you can let yourself work more yin and just relax here as well. But a staff pose generally is, and they call it Dandasana. Tadasana is that standing mountain pose. Dandasana is, okay, here, ta-da, not ta-da, but danda, right? Here I am in this nice solid pose. And it takes work because I'm not leaning back on the chair, right? It takes work to keep myself upright here. So from here, I'm going to take my right hand down to the leg of the chair I'm seated on. I'm going to lift my left arm up, and I'm going to come in, I'm going to come over into that side release that we've often done with our feet down on the ground. And if this gets to be too much, please go ahead and do that, okay? And then I'm going to lift myself up and exhale my left hand to my left leg of the chair, reaching up with my right and sliding on down that left leg of the chair and opening up my side body here. And bring myself up, inhale, exhale. Let's do that a few more times. Inhale, lift, exhale, slide. Inhale, lift, exhale, hand down. Inhale, arm up, exhale, slide. Rising up, releasing down, rising up, releasing down, rise on up, release down. One more time on this side, coming on up, exhale, hand comes down. Now, let's take our hands behind us and find our hands either on the side, back side of the chair, or the back seat of the chair, someplace where you're going to feel your shoulder blades pull together, okay? And our legs are still long. And again, you want to make sure that you're not hyperextending any kneecaps. So make sure that the area around your knee, those muscles are really tight but with a little bend there, okay? And you're maintaining that. So I'm just going to push down here into my chair. And I'm going to feel that expansion in my heart. I'm going to feel that expansion through my pectoral muscles there. I'm going to feel that expansion in my breath as my lungs are able to open up a little bit more. I'm going to feel the squeeze in my shoulders and up into my trapezius muscles. All those muscles there. I'm looking up, pushing down, weight bearing here, okay? Yep, I'm not necessarily bringing my whole self out of the chair, but I'm weight bearing down. And then I'm going to release. Woo. And I'm going to let my legs just go. And so they kind of go. When I let them go, I have this kind of opening sensation here. My heels come in, my toes come out. And that's what we do when we lay ourselves back down into corpse pose. We just really let our hips open and our feet open. So from here, hold on, and you can keep those legs relaxed. Hold on to both legs of your chair, okay? And then let's just take ourselves back and let's recline. And let's let our legs be relaxed. Let's let our back be relaxed, okay? I'm gonna take my hands and just let them come up onto the top of my thighs. I'm gonna let my head tilt back just a little bit. And this would be another really good place to maybe place a pillow behind me. Get really comfortable here. I'm not gonna stay here forever, but I just want you to see that we can also find ourselves in a really nice reclined position, semi-reclined, in our chair yoga class. One more breath here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and bring myself back up and take my feet one at a time back to the ground here. And I'm gonna take the other chair over now. I wanna keep a block or two available to do a little bit of work with them. I'm gonna turn back towards you guys now. And I want you to sit in Tadasana. That's that mountain pose where we are really well aligned here again. Just lining ourselves up and try to do it by feel, right? It's good to have the visual with the zoom, you know, because I think, oh, my head's that way, I got to bring it over. My shoulders, one's up, I got to bring it down. But let's see if we can just close our eyes and find that mountain pose without the visual. The visual's great. I'm going to tell you, I like that component of it. I know my Facebook live classes, I have a visual, but the audience doesn't. But you guys do in these Zoom classes. But let's see if we can just figure out, with eyes closed, do you feel like your feet are parallel on the ground? Do you feel like you have the four corners, the two at the base of your heel and the two forward on the outsides of the front of your feet, centered on the ground, and all your toes are on the ground? And do you feel like you have your knee in alignment with your ankle? You feel like you need to move something. And then do you feel like your knees are in alignment with your hips so that they're about hips distance? And that's going to be different for all of us. They say sometimes you can take your two fists and fit them between your knees, and that's about what our anatomy calls hip distance. But you can try that if you like. And then do you feel like in this Tadasana mountain pose that your body is lined up, shoulders and hips lined up? And what about that head? Does it need to tilt back a little bit or forward a little bit? Do you feel like those earrings are going to fall right down onto your collarbone, or maybe back a little bit farther because our heads are tilted forward, back onto our trapezius muscles there? Do you feel like your shoulders are pulling down and away from your ears? Do you feel your belly expanding and contracting here? And I'm going to ask for you to keep your eyes closed for the next few minutes as we continue to just get that biofeedback of our bodies, okay, and what they're doing, right? So that we're not going to look outside of ourselves to a reflection, but inside, okay? So listening carefully to the directions, it's not going to be anything different that we haven't done before. And this is also just a test. Can I really keep my eyes closed and do this? So let your hands just drop to the side. As you do, did you let your spine kind of crush in as you did that? If so, can you lift that back so that we maintain that nice straight spine? And from here, can you take your left arm out and see if you feel that it's about at the height of your shoulder? And then can you take the right arm out and feel like it's at the height of your shoulder? And then drop down your fingertips, right? So your fingertips are down and you're just here like a scarecrow on a pole, right? And our hands are down. But other than not being like a scarecrow, we're very aware of the connection that's going on in our bodies right now. And now I'm going to move my arms up into a V. I want to release my fingers out too, okay? So that they're opening and they're receiving. I'm doing all of this trusting that my body is doing what I think it's doing. And I'm just going to open up my fingers a little wider. And I want you to feel and sense what's going on with your arms this way. With your eyes closed, we really have to build into and work into what's going on with our bodies here. And then see if you can take your arms up a little bit higher so that the fingers are reaching towards the ceiling. If not, and you're in that V, that's perfectly fine. Let's take some circles with our wrists here and just feel that movement, expression of our hands. Still breathing. I'm going to reverse that pattern. I'm going to take my hands into that V again. Lifting up on every in-breath. Keeping that lift even when I exhale. 2 more times. And then I'm going to take my hands down. Slowly, palms are down. Releasing slowly till my fingers are pointed towards the ground. And now listen, we're going to move into something we've done many times before. I'm going to take my left hand to my right knee, my right hand behind me to support and lengthen my spine because I'm still keeping it nice and long. Okay? And my eyes are closed too, you guys. And now I'm going to go ahead and start my twist over behind me. I'm not going to look over my right shoulder, but I'm going to sense what that's like to be gazing back behind me, feeling that where. Where do you feel your twist in your body? And this twist comes all the way from the base of our spine up through our cervical spine. And then I begin to release with letting my head go first, and my shoulders, and then my torso, and I come back into sitting up into that straight, balanced Tadasana. Ensure that my head's on straight and even, not forward or back. I'm going to reverse that. My right hand crosses over to my left knee. Left hand comes behind, push down, lengthen through my spine. And then I'm going to go ahead and take that twist starting from waist, moving all the way up, imagining what I see behind me. You've done this many times before. So what is it you think you see behind you? Still breathing. Slowly letting your head release, shoulders come back, torso, and sitting up nice and straight and tall here. Let's see if we can do this with our eyes closed. Hands come down. Bring your arms up. Let's take our right arm, both arms down, right under left. Cross. Bring your hands to your shoulders. Then if they go, take them so they're perpendicular to the ground and find palm to palm, hand in hand. There. Lift up just a bit. Pull in at the navel point, and let's take 2 circles to your right. And 2 circles to your left. Lifting up high. Let's take our arms and body, torso to the left. Feet stay planted, knees stay forward. And then from this angle, we're going to pull those elbows back towards the right hip. And I'm gonna angle back out across my body. And then bring myself forward. Take my arms wrapped like eagle to the right, torso follows. And elbows come towards my hip. Exhale. Inhale, rise them back up. Still towards the right side of my body. And bring them over to the front. And exhale. Ooh, yes, release. And let's float and fly those arms. Taking wings. Letting wrists go up and down. Letting arms fly up and down. Just imagining if you were a child running around, playing a game where you were a bird, what would you look like? How would that feel? So take your arms and let them flap. And now send them up. And exhale them down. This time I'm taking my left under my right and crossing, making that X. Taking my hands with bent elbows, hands to shoulders. Forearms come, fingers face the ceiling, lift up high, inhale. Come forward, elbows between my knees, bowing down to you all. Taking myself up on an inhale. Bowing down forward to you on an exhale. And do that 2 more times. How deep you go does not matter. Follow your breath, follow what your back's telling you. I've got 1 more to do. Rising on up. Releasing my arms. Ooh, let them go. And flap my wings. Breathe. Two more flaps. Arms come down. Hands to knees. Who still has their eyes closed? See if we're able to do this in this last part of our class. Holding onto my knees and taking my chest forward. And I'm looking up and not really, I'm looking through my eyelids. Chin reaches up. I feel that in my lumbar spine as I come up into cow. And now I'm going to take and either hold onto my knees or slide them down my shins. And let my shoulders round. Coming into cats. Really releasing my head down here. And now I'm going to flow with that. On my own pace, your own pace. Coming up with inhale. Coming down with exhale. Who has their eyes closed still? I do, so I can't see whether you are or not. Two more, please. So we needed our vision really in the beginning because we're using that share, that second share. We're doing some things that are a little bit different, right? So it's good to have that visual cueing. But here we've done this a bunch of times. And you take time in your day to close your eyes and just do some simple cat-cows. Do some simple twists, some simple side bends. Some not so simple Tadasanas. eagle poses, coming back into sitting up straight and tall, and I needed to move my shoulders back so they were on my hips. I need to move my head back and lift my chin a bit so that I'm level here too. And I'm really going to start paying more attention to that because I know that my head kind of jets forward. So that's my work, okay? I'm going to take a couple breaths here, still with the eyes closed, those of you that care and dare. Now I'm going to come and widen my stance. Can you widen your stance? Stay on your chair with eyes closed. And we're going to work in and out of goddess pose here, goddess and chair pose. So we will be moving our legs some, okay? I'll talk you through it. Trust me, have faith. I don't know if you ever did any of those faith walks before where you were blindfolded and someone had to lead you around. I did that in college for a whole day. I had to pretend like I was blind when I was studying special ed. One day blind, another day in a wheelchair. So start to get that sense of what that's like. Arms are down, fingers towards the ground right now. And then I lift them up. I'm pressing weight into my feet. My fingers point towards the ceiling. And then I exhale, bend elbows to shoulder height. Fingers coming directly up from my elbows. Can you feel what you might need to do that? Okay, pressing down into my feet. Goddess pose here. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, let's take those hands back down, elbows down to shoulder height. And let your hands come downward now, okay? Another type of scarecrow. Hands are down, elbows are lifted. Feel this in your tricep area. Let your shoulders come away from your ears. Mine hiked up, I could feel it. And now turn my fingers towards the ceiling. Can I line myself back up without looking again? Biofeedback, get my cues from my body. And then lift your arms back up, inhale. Keep your arms here. And now we're going to, remember those little bounces we did at the beginning? Okay, we're gonna bounce both feet off the ground and we're gonna take them back to where they would be if we were in Tadasana, mountain pose, right? So my knees are facing you now. And I'm in chair pose, really reaching up high here. Pushing down into my feet so that I didn't have that chair underneath me. I might be able to not fall all the way down. I probably would, but just press into the feet, pull up with your arms, okay? And then take your feet like we did before, bounce them up, take them out, okay? And now come on down into your cactus arms. And I guess I told you guys that everything we're going to do would be something we've done before, and a couple of these aren't, but that's okay. I know you're doing it. Go ahead, lift up, inhale. And exhale, take your hands onto your knees, left to left, right to right. I'm still with nice open hips, open knees, correct? And now I'm going to hold onto my knees, take my left shoulder forward. Look over through my eyelids, over my right shoulder. I come into this little twist, right? And then bringing myself up. I'm going to reverse that. My right shoulder comes forward. I am looking through my eyelids over behind my left shoulder. And then I'm going to come up. And I'm going to walk my feet or bring them back so that I feel I've got everything aligned up. I'm going to place my hands out, arms straight, hands on my knees. And then I'm going to take my hands and cover my eyes. From here, I'm going to open my eyes. See my hands. Hear my breath. I'm gonna let my hands come down. And just breathing here. A few breaths together in tree pose. Eyes open or slightly open. Taking hands into Anjali Mudra here. I honor the place in you where the universe dwells. I honor that place in you where there is love and there is light and there is peace and there is joy. So much, so many gifts. Where you are in that place in you and I am in that place in me. We are connected and we are brothers and we are sisters through this practice, through our breath, through our beings. From my heart to yours, thank you for your ever presence, and namaste.